Raise your hand if you've closed a deal or have a deal in contract this year. Okay. All right, so moving on.
Aaron's going to replay this 5 months from now and then tell him to throw up certain stats.
I hope so.
All right. I'll just take this one on the chin.
Obviously, Aaron was the #1 producing agent on our team last year.
And the entire office of Keller Williams.
Except for
And
Julie
the number
Weiss.
one buyer's agent.
In the entire Santa Clara
MLS.
County. He also bench presses 245 pounds.
Thank you.
Yep. All right.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find.
Welcome to another episode of All Things Reels.
All right. I'm going to jump right into market stats. You guys probably get tired of hearing it because I go over the stats every week. But I do that because, believe it or not everybody listens to every single one of our podcasts. So it's worth, all right, can you believe that?
That's crazy.
So it's worth repeating. Santa Clara County, right, from Gilroy all the way up to Palo Alto, Los Altos, we have 364 homes on the market. The interesting thing is we've got about 324 pending, so we're rolling about a month's worth of inventory.
Is that single family homes?
Yeah, single family homes.
So that's 100 more than exact last month today. That's 100 more.
Yeah, so we're up 100, right? So percentage-wise, oh, wow, it's a big increase.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you might hear somebody else on a podcast or an Instagram reel say, our inventory is up 30% from last month. Now's the time to buy, sell, whatever narrative they want to push based on that statistic. But the reality is we have 364 homes for sale in the entire county, which isn't very much, which is probably why we had about 80 groups through last weekend at the open house we did on Bayless and sold it, with 11 offers, $200K over asking price.
And that's what I was just going to bring up too. It's not only that we're seeing inventory rise and the people coming into open houses, but we're seeing offers rise. Jeet
Jeet and I were
competition
talking
with 18 offers.
Absolutely.
So you got a property. Go
Do
ahead.
you want to let him
offer.
talk, or you want to tell his story?
So what happened was my friend G.
So what happened was I placed an offer in Fremont, super hot home. Comp suggests 175 to 18. It was listed for 16. Told my clients it'll go higher. There'll be a lot of people, even private showings. There was a line outside of people just wanting to see it. It was a dialed-in home. No, not a lot of things to take care of.
Yeah.
Home across the street sold on Tuesday. And they were taking offers on Wednesday or Monday and Tuesday. And the home across the street got only 5 offers. And this one, because it's in Fremont and it's northeast facing, it got 18 offers.
Wow.
And it's right now they're telling me it's somewhere in the 19s.
So can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
Same house, one faces south, one faces northeast. What's
Yeah.
the price difference if it's on the same street, same everything?
From what I've noticed, it's like it could be hundreds of thousands. It's just because a lot of people believe that, it's just Indian Vastu. So even though the kids may not believe that are buying the home, it's like, okay, if I buy it and something goes wrong, my parents are going to be like, okay, why did you ever do that? Like everything gets blamed on the house.
So it's serious, but it's not that serious. But
Yeah.
it's serious enough that you could potentially not buy a south-facing house.
Even if it checks all the boxes, but it doesn't, it's a south-facing home, a lot of people just don't want to buy it.
So typically south-facing bad, east or northeast.
It's good.
Good.
Yeah,
And
I have
also
a
the amount of sunlight.
Yeah, exactly. It's also I have a priest from back in India that gave me a chart that has exact quadrants that work.
Can we get a picture of that and throw it up on the screen
Absolutely.
for the podcast?
We'll
No, I
work
think
that.
that'd be awesome. I think that's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's something I know a little bit about, but I appreciate you kind of breaking it down. And I
Yeah.
want to see the quadrants.
Absolutely. There's some parts of northwest that don't work, southwest that don't work, but mostly between northeast and almost southeast work. But for majority of the people, it's north and northeast and east that work the best.
So that
stuff.
And then
situation,
directional pull of
Yeah.
the bedrooms and the...
So that situation of 18 offers was in Fremont, and then there was another situation got into last week, and this one was back. And so this was kind of a situation when I saw this and heard about this. This was like our property on Lyle a couple months ago. It was a fixer-upper in a great area at a great school district. This property ended up with 46 offers.
Lyle?
No, that was the one in Cambrian.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That
By
needed-
Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that needed some work. It also had some highway noise. That got 46 offers, and no clue what it's pending at, but
Yeah.
it's definitely hundreds and
And
hundreds.
then again, in an area of Cambrian, a large area for first-time home buyers coming
Yeah.
in, when you see that there's 46 offers on a property, you have to let your buyers know out there that the next property that comes up is going to have all 45 of those people who didn't get it still looking at it. And if it's a property that's not a fixer-upper, it just creates more of that competition and premium for someone to move in that in a full turnkey home.
Okay, so
Absolutely.
then let me ask you a question then, because you're right. If there's 46 offers on a house, only one offer gets accepted. Theoretically, you have 45 other people looking for something similar. So, and then it gets pushed up and pushed up and pushed up price-wise, right? Okay, so then how would you advise a seller in that neighborhood? Would you say, wait 3 months because there's such demand in this neighborhood that prices are going to keep getting pushed up and you'll get more money if you wait 3 months from now, or do you list now?
I wouldn't give them one direction to go in. I would give them an option of a couple different directions. One being the size of a fixer-upper, what the outlook is, and one being what your property, the value of it would be if it's a turnkey property. Because like Jeet said, just in the same area, like if you were to list one in Fremont and it wasn't east-facing, you can pretty much guarantee your buyers know you're gonna get more than 5 offers than this one had not facing, and you're gonna get X amount of offers if they are facing. So there's all certain things I think that go into play with that question.
And Aaron, what do you think?
I would say you're never going to time the market. If now is the right time to sell for you, let's jump because there's a ton of activity out there. If the market's trending upwards super quickly, plus or minus 25 grand, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to know what's happening right now and get, a certain outcome rather than rely on a future outcome as a seller, especially where you can get affected by hundreds of thousands of dollars if a war breaks out or the stock market crashes.
Yeah,
like-
because what I'm hearing a lot of right now is buy now because interest rates are going down, and when rates go down later in the year, home values are going to go up. Okay, I can get behind that logic, but with a seller, well then why do I want to sell now and not just wait until prices go up, right? But I think to your point is, if it's the right time for you, you should probably do it because we can't predict the future.
Yeah.
What happens if rates go down and inventory goes up in that neighborhood, right? Because it's very localized. So inventory levels are going to be low for the next, for as long as we're in real estate. We're always going to have supply demand issues that are going to favor sellers. With maybe some exceptions, over the next couple of decades when we have recessions and things like that. But overall, we're always going to have supply issues here. So
Another thing I noticed is that a lot of people are putting 6-month leases. Ben and I, we were just looking at that. It's like maybe people are trying to time the market, that, they're giving their homes up for short-term leases so that they can take
sell in the
advantage
summer.
of the summer selling period.
yeah, I do think we will see inventory increase as rates get into the high fives, right? That's gonna unlock some of that. That's those sellers that have been hesitant to move because the price of a mortgage was so high.
And I think, go ahead.
So let's see if I can articulate this correctly. Kind of to piggyback, we met with someone in Almaden, and as opposed to a lot of people think that price is the most important thing, and while it is very important, we found that her pinpoint or pain point was to not have a smooth transition to her new place. So the money, of course, matters to a point, but she would rather take a solid, clean offer for a little bit, maybe less, not test the market, and just jump so that she can get to the next point. You have to remember, after a certain point of $500,000, if you're married, of equity in the house, you're only getting 70 cents on the dollar anyways. So if the money's not going to change your life to be able to get what you want, or you don't have a plan, I'd say to take the solid, clean, smooth.
Yeah.
See, and these are the
Sale.
conversations that you have with these sellers when they ask.
Plus or minus 10, 15, 20
Yeah.
grand, right? And we're not talking 200,000.
No,
right?
absolutely. But this is the same thing. I have a client who's in my neighborhood wanting to sell too, and you break it down with them, and it's like if you clean it up and put in this amount of money, you expect it to go over in this range. And for them, they're taking the next 3 months to clean it out, get it fixed up, painted, do what they need to do because they want to get the most out of it. So,
But there's a reason they want the absolute most out of it, usually.
Because they need every penny for their next move.
But if they already had everything lined up and they're buying something for $200,000 in Alabama,
Yeah.
they probably want the smoothest, easiest thing for them. That's what I found over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I read a crazy stat that kind of goes into a good tangent from our conversation regarding rates and inventory. For every 1% rate drop, there are 3 million new buyers in the U.S.
So when rates go from 7% to 6%.
Yes, there's 3 million buyers that can now afford homes, qualify. So I decided to make that super local to us, right? In our county, we have 3 million people, right? Santa Clara County, 3 million people. That makes about 30,000 new buyers eligible to buy a home. And if our inventory levels are at 615 total, condos, townhomes, single-family homes, that's a total of 48 months of demand. That means for the next 48 months, if there's no new, or if there's the same amount of inventory that keeps coming up, that means there's not going to be any sort of normalcy.
Can I ask you something? Do you think that applies more to a first-time home buyer or to someone that's a move-up buyer?
I think it applies to both, because as the rates drop, they'll be eligible for a move up, so that they can sell their existing and then move up to the new one, as well as the first time home buyer that's really affected by rates. I would say first time home buyer more than move up, but both.
Yeah, which goes back to what I was saying. We're going to have supply issues forever. There's no way we can build enough housing, whether it's single family homes, condo, townhomes, to support the demand for home ownership in our area.
And did you guys see the reel that we had last week from Mark talking with you and I about how he believe if you had the opportunity to be able to build and hit the quota for how many
units we need.
New units. Mark likes the idea of taking the acre lots and subdividing it into, let's say, 2, 3, 4 houses. People seem to really be on board with that because it doesn't wreck the lifestyle of a suburban neighborhood per se.
Yeah, I think, we're already seeing a lot of people talking about creative ways to create housing, right? Whether it's, taking old shopping malls, turning them into housing. One of the hotels in downtown San Jose is being turned into housing. So, I think it's natural that the next thing is looking at subdividing lots.
But the thing with hotels or strip malls is that it does not attract someone like me or you ever.
Right, but we're just two people.
Correct.
People need a roof over their head, and if you make it convenient and affordable, they're going to flock to it because it's so expensive to own a quote unquote nice home in our market that people are going to have to settle for something.
So what do you feel is the one feature that someone's looking in a home the most that would make them stop renting and buy a house? Like, what is it, that one thing that they're looking for in your opinion?
Roof over their head.
Well, it's to your point, it is the peace of mind that comes from living in a place where you can paint your walls, you can call it your own. As long as you make the payment, some landlord's not going to kick you out. It's that certainty, right? If you're starting a family, right? Hey, I'm going to get married. I want to have kids. Ideally, you want to be in a place where somebody can't pull that, roof out from under you and say, hey, I'm gonna sell this. You got to move again, right? But there's that balance of can I afford it or not. But I think for me, that's the one thing.
What about you?
I was going to agree with Dave. I think it just comes down to the balance of your lifestyle and what you truly want in life. And again, I feel like, as an agent, someone said this to me the other day, how do you sell a home to people who don't want to buy a home? And it's like, we don't necessarily sell homes to people.
That.
We provide people information on whether or not it's the smart decision to make and why it's the smart decision. So if your decision is to buy a home, I'm no problem telling you where it should be and why you should do it.
And I will kind of add this too. If you look historically, a primary residence owning a home for the majority of Americans is where they gain their wealth. Right? Now, I know you can crypto, stock market, Amazon dropshipping, whatever. There's a million ways to make money. But if historically, the average American gains the majority of their net worth through the equity of the home that they own. So I think, being, whether it's first in your family to own a home or, you're next in line of, homeowners throughout generations, it's definitely a step in the right direction in creating wealth, for yourself and for your heirs.
Mm-hmm. I think it's both an emotional and a financial decision, right? And if it makes you happy and if it builds your wealth, that means either or, if that makes sense to you, I think that's a good decision.
So in my 30s, the number one thing that I get is none of those, is that if you can find me something with a backyard, I would do it.
Simplistic, yes, right? Space.
But that comes down to your financials as well. A lot of people can't afford something in
Correct.
the backyard.
Exactly. So they would rather pay $5,000 a month in rent and get the backyard in Cambrian with the schools that they want with their 3 kids versus shelling out 1.8 to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting.
Also, the whole condo living aspect, like there's places like New York, Dubai, London, like where condo living is very normal because as things get more and more expensive as population grows, people get used to it. So it's going to be a lifestyle change, right? Over here, people love owning single family homes, but as population grows, I think that's going to change.
I agree. And speaking of population growth, have you guys heard anything about this BART?
Bart
I mean,
Simpson?
no, the BART train not being built to San Jose because it cost something like $12 billion.
I wouldn't be surprised if it never ends up in downtown San Jose as planned. I mean, they've gotten as far as Berryessa.
I mean, at what point do you not see the return? A $12 billion to drive the Berryessa.
At what point do you see
It's
a
not even a
return?
loop.
Yeah, no, I know. Obviously, I mean, and Jeet is probably more well-traveled than all of us, but our area in particular, and most of the United States, has some of the worst public transportation systems in the world, right? I mean, New York's better. Obviously, San Francisco you get around to, but can you imagine having to use bus and light rail to get around at San Jose?
Not to be on time to anything.
Yeah, it's just too fragmented. It wasn't thoughtfully done, and so it doesn't surprise me. And since COVID, BART, Caltrain, all their ridership is down. They're losing tons of money. So it wouldn't surprise me if they never made it into downtown San Jose.
Yeah. What was a cultural shock moving here? It was not getting anywhere with a bus and a train. Like, I looked it up. I was like, okay, if I had to go to the gym, because I didn't have a driver's license when I first moved here, and I was like, okay, I need to get one. But meanwhile, if I have to go back and forth to the gym, it would be a maybe 30-minute walk. It would take me 2.5 hours in a bus. It would take me all around the city to then get me to the gym.
That's crazy.
Whereas in London, it would be every 2 minutes you would get a bus, or every 5 minutes you would get a train.
Yeah, I think part of it too is just how we're spread out as a valley. It's just not conducive, and honestly, I think people were about safety and convenience, and so it's a lot of those factors. But speaking of stats and money and lack thereof, I've got one for you guys. I'm sure, like me, a lot of people approach you and they're like, Aaron or Jeet or Ben, man, I see what you guys are doing, your podcast, all the homes you're selling. I want to get into real estate, right? I watch Selling Sunset and $1 Million Listing, and I'm like, that's me, right? I could do this. You guys make it look so easy.
And it's all real.
Oh, yeah.
Those shows are all real.
Yeah. It's 100%.
And all the
They would
commissions.
never, the commissions
Commissions
always,
100%
Yeah.
accurate.
Everybody on Selling Sunset is licensed.
and those
sells
houses are
lots of
all on the
homes.
market.
they're
They're not
all
staged.
they're all
Yeah.
ranked in the
Yeah.
top 3 in each.
I can
state,
see
too.
why the people would want it.
All those negotiations happen just like they show
Yeah.
it on the reality show.
I have approval to go up to 15 million, David. All right, let's do the deal.
Ching. There you
Wow, $450,000
commission.
I've only worked with the buyer for a week. That's it, guys.
That's how it works. But here's the harsh reality for anybody that's thinking about getting their real estate license. These are current stats as of last month. So for the year 2023, there's approximately 1.5 million real estate agents nationwide. Okay, 1.5 million across the entire United States. 49% of those 1.5 million people, or roughly 725,000 of those agents, only sold one or none last year. So half of the agents out of the 1.5 million sold a house or no houses. And they say the average agent nationwide, you take those aside, ends up to about 4 transactions a year for an average agent. And the median income for an agent across the United States is about $38,000 a year.
A year?
A year. Now, obviously, there's home values fluctuate, so commissions fluctuate. But that aside, half of all the real estate agents in the United States last year only sold one house or 0. But I bring it up because I think it speaks to how hard this industry really is. We're compensated well. But if you look at I think what the reality shows don't cover, and maybe what we don't cover a lot on the podcast, is the amount of work we do behind the scenes, the hours that we put in, the networking we do, the relationships that we have, the research and investigation that we do, the follow-up that we do, that a lot of times there's no salary, there's no income or commission at the end of that.
Perfect example. Jeet just lost 18 offers. Did you lose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost 18 offers. Now he has to go back to the drawing board, show all the houses again, do all of the same things that he just did,
Yeah.
and hopefully he gets accepted
Yeah.
on the next one.
Another thing I would like to add to that is also the amount of rejection we face, not just when we place offers, but by buyers, by sellers, right? It truly becomes a numbers game.
Yeah, and it's definitely not for everybody. I know reality TV, and you see all these podcasts and influencers, and they make it look easy. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's not. I mean, it's hard work. We've all put in a lot of time. We sit around here and laugh and joke and stuff, but at the end of the day, we put in a lot of time, work really hard for our clients in order to create the lifestyles that we do. And it doesn't even. And you take the dollars aside, the amount of stress that right, Jeet? How many times you called me stressed out? But it's real, right? Yeah. No, but the stress in these transactions are real because, one, we know that residential is emotional. So there's a lot of emotions, maybe not ours, but clients on both sides involved, a lot of money involved. And, a small mistake or oversight, or you forget to say something, can cost an entire transaction. And if not a transaction, can cost tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, if you want to get a real estate license, it's easy to do. It's easy to get a license. It's hard to sell houses consistently and take really good care of your clients at a high level over a long period of time.
That's cool.
That's my PSA.
Hey, I got a question for you guys.
All right.
My question is, if you could change one thing, let's have a legit answer here.
Okay.
If you could change one big thing about real estate, what would it be? For example, the way you show houses, the way that clients write contracts, the way that disclosures are presented. Like, what's one thing?
Agent visual inspection disclosure. Like, every time we sell a house, we have to walk through the house and look at things, and we have to go like, scratch there, mark there, worn floors. It truly doesn't make a difference. I think that's one of the things I would eliminate.
Okay.
I would make it a lot harder to get a real estate license.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, I'd make it a lot harder to get a real estate license. And in addition to obviously maintaining your license, I think there should be some extra. We carry errors and omissions insurance, but I think there should be some more stringent guidelines along that as well as the type of insurance that we carry and things like that.
I was gonna bounce that one off too. I feel like the stipulations for how to become an agent and the work you're allowed to do, I feel like we get taken advantage of when you see the specifications that some people have that you don't have. Like, you should have to do a certain amount of business to be part of the business. It's crazy to me how people feel confident just to reach out to an agent who doesn't do any business to call them up for the biggest financial aspect. So like you said, I feel like there needs to be tests or some sort of levels you have to reach to continue to do business in real estate for as long as you do it. Okay. Like, if you don't do a deal for a year, you should have to take your test again. Like, how are you going to jump back into an industry after 1 year?
I would like to see like an internship or a certain amount of hours completed. You should do like 1,000 hours. Like, look how much you learned before you jumped in fully. Look how much you learned. Like, you were always going to do a service to your clients because you surrounded yourself with him and Mark for over a full year. Yeah. Just knowledge, going on appointments. You were a salary.
Yeah.
So like maybe starting salary, but something's got to give, because I feel like if the average person saw what we see, poorly written contracts, the way that they call us on the phone, oh, we're willing to come up, just give us a counter. Like, you might as well just tell your clients you're not going to help them. But
that's what's always so tough with clients who you're close with, because they think they're going to get the same thing from the opposite agent.
So since you both said the same thing, I would like to change the way that clients see houses. Once you're in a solidified relationship and you're in a working relationship, I would like to change the way that they're able to view houses.
How would you change it?
I would like them to be able to see it on their own, potentially.
And that's where I disagree.
Why?
Because
I only say that now that I have a 1-year-old, by the way.
Because, right.
I used to be like, why would you not want me there?
Right. It is super convenient to send a client. And you know what? Maybe for the first showing, that's fine.
But wait. I'll add on to it.
caveats.
But if they go by themselves, you cannot write an offer for them until you go with them. How about that?
Well, see, that's interesting. What if all buyers had to be pre-approved to go and view the home? So instead of just having an open house, hey, feel free to come whenever you want, it's vacant. Buyers agents have to show representation to that seller that we are pre-approved for this purchase and we're allowed to go and see it.
What if they just want to get a feel for it before?
Well, what's the
Yeah.
point of getting a feel? You can't have it. You get whatever feel you want, but you still can't
get
have it if you're not
If you
pre-approved.
see it on a Saturday, you can get pre-approved on a weekend.
But that's what I'm saying. If I don't have the relationship with the buyer, I don't know if they're actually going to go through with that. Like if I get a call and we just meet them there, I meet them at an open house, I want to see another one, who knows if they're real. But if we have the pre-approval in hand, we're solidified with the lender, we have the relationship with the other side, it could be smoother. But again, these are all hypotheticals.
You know what I saw years and years and years ago on Shark Tank? There was a lockbox.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
Right. There was a lockbox that gave buyers access
Code,
to.
right?
Yeah.
Saw that
Yeah.
for rental properties.
And-
Yeah, rental properties do it now. I don't know. I want to get eyes on a house before I write an offer for my client for $500,000, $1 million, $5 million, right? I don't care how many houses they bought and sold. As much as you hate the agent's visual inspection, my visual inspection of that property and my ability to go through inspection reports,
Yeah.
is why they're hiring me. That negotiating a contract and all that, but
No, I totally.
But it is a
understand.
dumb document.
The only time I've literally used an Avid in contract, person had a 30-day rent back.
I'm scared.
The 30th day, there was a large piece of the wall missing on a move of a couch.
Oh, used
And
it.
we
in that sense.
cross-checked it
Yeah.
specifically because we walked in. That doesn't look right. Cross-checked it. Nothing was noted. Came back. Got the money for the repair. Only time. So I get what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
minuscule.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to like a rent back situation or the person's living in it with all their furniture and they go to move it out, some of these stagers are lazy and the movers, they don't.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I fully understand the reason behind it. It's just I hate it.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
I also think, and this probably isn't doable, but I think there should be a statewide registry that consumers can go to or we can show to consumers that tracks actual stats. Units, volume, location, right?
Like a transparent, above board.
Here's all my deals.
Yeah, check this guy out.
Yeah.
Is it legit? Because the people you think that are doing a lot of transactions on social media,
Yeah.
they're not actually doing them.
And a lot.
Exactly.
I mean, even if you look up people on Zillow, I mean, you can look up a great agent, one of us. I can guarantee there are deals on there that are missing because Zillow never included them. They were
Yeah.
off market.
Anybody
new
can,
builds.
anybody can
construction,
say they're the number one buyer's agent
in Silicon Valley.
in Silicon Valley
per MLS.
for MLS on Tuesday, January 2nd.
Hey, for what it's worth, Jeet sold outside the MLS listing, so I wasn't able to see the stats. So according to the stats that I pulled,
Exactly,
number
the
one.
stats you pulled.
I'm gonna
He
narrow
searched
it
for
down.
all. No, he searched for all agents named Aaron Derbacher, and he was
and
number one.
number one agent as voted on
as voted on by
by
Aaron's mom.
Sarah
Mom.
Avery.
But my point is, if there was a repository that actually, and like I said, it's not realistic, but I think that's one of my biggest pain points for other agents is they act as if, they sell all these houses and have all these accolades when the reality is most of them don't. And so I don't know.
A lot of fake it till you make it in this biz. So
There's a ton of it. I mean,
interview more than one person. That's always my suggestion.
anybody can have a podcast and act like they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Look at us.
Everyone could be a top producer in their bio.
Top producer.
Um,
top 48%.
Yeah.
Sold two houses.
48%.
One more quick item, just to bring up here with tax season coming up. I've had a lot of conversations with my buyers,
Yeah.
especially ones who are thinking of purchasing with their significant other or partner. This is a good time to get on the same page with each other. Talk about your finances, go over your taxes, understand each of your credit scores, because when you do talk to that lender and you do go to make that offer, everything needs to be in full motion together. It's called a significant other for a reason. Sign if I can't. So
How long have you been waiting to pop that little one in?
honestly, I just thought about this, but it's true because again,
Significant other means what?
Sign if I can't.
that's how you spell it. Sign if I can't.
All right. So like you and Sarah go buy a car.
Wait, is that just a coincidence?
Throw it up on the screen, Jacob, when we say this piece.
Sign
Significant
if
other.
I can't.
Sign
Is
if
that
I
why
can't.
they call it that?
No, but it's just.
But it
that's-
just works
It just
out.
works out to the point of, again, if you're going to get pre-approved, don't let the lender tell you, oh, you have X amount of money coming out of this credit card per month. Do you know what that is? And both look confused. Make sure everything is on the same page.
That's
Go
like
through it.
race car spelled backwards is race car.
Yes, it's not like that,
my
but it's
mind.
that. Actually, I think before you put a ring on someone's finger, you guys should exchange credit reports.
Well, I just got
Pre-qualify them.
Yeah, you got a prequal.
Prequel them, talk about what your monthly expenses are. You don't want to get into a situation with a mortgage.
So
You-
what's an acceptable credit? Like what's like a red flag where you'd be like,
Oh, red flag. If
I don't know if you can
I
sign
mean-
if I can't.
I mean, if you're in the low fives.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
If you have payments coming out that I don't know what they're going towards, that's when I have a red flag.
Oh, wow.
I mean, but
So-
hey,
So 680 is like
680 is fine.
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, hypothetically, of course, I would never have a
Hypothetically.
680. I swear it was higher. I don't know what happened. Too many credit lines.
too many credit cards, too many cars. No, I mean, credit fluctuates, but I joke, but the reality is, I mean, like Ben said, you got to know what you're getting yourself into, right? On the other side.
It's like my credit score is a 668, but backwards is an 866.
When I hold my report up to the mirror.
But yeah, to
What's
the point.
another word that you can spell backwards and it's the same? Mom.
Mom, Dad.
Wow.
Wow. All right.
Mom.
Um,
Wow.
You got a 680 out there. What's up?
call her at
860.
But serious note, get on the same page with your significant other. Understand what you can afford per month. Don't
Yeah.
go about getting your mortgage and then overspending on other items like unnecessary needs, unnecessary
Yeah, like
trips.
cars and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
groceries and gas.
Gas-
Like eggs are like $10 now. Hold on, I have to say something. So sometimes I find it funny when like
Have to say
girlfriends are buying, or girl and boyfriend or husband and wife are buying a property together, and then they do have to both be on the loan and they get qualified, and then the husband finds out the wife has like $58,000 in credit card debt, and they're like, what? She's like, yeah, I make the minimum payment. And I'm just like, oh my God, that means if you saw a cute shirt at the store for $100, you're technically paying like $140 for it because of all
It's-
the interest you're
I
paying.
think my lender caused a divorce in one of my clients' relationships. We were great. We were on board.
Things were going.
Got pre-approved. Came up with this random credit card. Oh, what is this? She didn't know. He didn't want to say on the phone. Still haven't heard from him.
Yeah. Well, and to that end, I mean, everybody should run their own credit report, right? Just as a regular financial health checkup, at least once a year, because you can get erroneous stuff on there, or a number gets switched, or hey, you're a victim of identity theft, you never know it. So at least once a year. I mean, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion all have those monthly
And
services.
confirm if I'm wrong, but if you run your credit once, every half year, your score is not gonna.
You're
it's
fine.
not gonna tank.
You're
it's not
fine.
gonna do anything.
And
to
you're
it.
entitled to a free copy of your
Yeah.
credit report every year from the three bureaus. So
Hey, you can also spell rotator backwards.
did you just look that up, bro?
And madam. Hey, and did you guys hear?
Oh, what, buddy?
Did you hear?
the bird is the.
What?
They're filling in Vasona Lake with
Oh my
houses.
God. Anyway, instead of ending it on Aaron's favorite topic, I am going to give one little thing out there for consumers that we talked about on Monday. Pretty cool website. The history of where we live, Silicon Valley, Santa Clara County, is rich in agriculture, technology, all of that stuff. And so the landscape of our beautiful valley has changed significantly over the years. There's a pretty cool website. Remember the name?
HistoricAerials.com.
HistoricAerials.com. We'll flash that, I guess. On
I before E except after C.
Thank you.
HistoricAerials.com.
Great website.
Except when you're spelling neighbors.
Okay. So great website where you can get an aerial view of what our valley used to look like all the way back to the 1960s.
And
We're just going to have to redo this part.
but then Jeet started to think about it.
Thinking about it.
All right, anyways, there's a really cool website that we talked about on Monday. It's called HistoricAerials.com.
Yeah. And if you're interested in the history of what your neighborhood used to look like, 20, 30, 40, 60 years ago, you have that ability to go on, punch in a website, and see that your house used to be a orchard, or cherry blossoms, which, agriculture obviously was how our valley came to be. And so pretty cool website. It's free. You can pay to download some of the prints if you want, but it's just cool. I use it actually to see my home was built in 77. I have a pool, and I wanted to look back and see what year the pool was built because it wasn't disclosed to us. And so I used that map to get a general idea of when the pool was installed.
That's what I did when you're trying to figure out when the addition or the permit was not filed for an addition on like a house.
Yeah.
You can see, 1988 it went up. Kind of cool. It's like Google Earth before Google Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
Historic aerials blew it. They should have sold to Google Earth.
They probably will. All right. Well, other than that, I think we're done for today, right? Anything else you guys want to add? Nope.
all good.
All good. All right. See you next time.
You can also spell Hannah.